guys, it's Nedra. Today's video is a step-by-step tutorial on how to apply Chrome. So if you've been having some difficulties with Chrome, this tutorial is for you. I'm not gonna hold you guys up in the intro. I just wanna get right into the video because it is very hot in here. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is getting bald spots on the nails after you've applied your top coat, and you don't realize that you have them until you go in with your Chrome. So what I have found causes that to happen is the inhibition layer that gel polish, primarily gel colors, usually have after they've been cured. If you don't know what an inhibition layer is, it is just a sticky layer that is on the gel polish after it's been cured. Some of them have a more of an inhibition layer than others. This one doesn't really have one, but it still does kind of have like a sticky layer. So usually that is what will cause the bald spots, is when you put your top coat on, as it settles, there's some spots that kind of open up, as in like little bubbles that will open up, and that's where you'll end up getting those bald spots. So what I like to do to prevent that from happening is go in and remove that inhibition layer before adding my top coat. So how I do that is I just go in with a lint-free wipe that has some rubbing alcohol on it, and I just wipe the nail down. Now, if you do that, wait for the nail to dry, wait for the rubbing alcohol on the nail to dry before going in with your top coat. If you immediately go in with your top coat right after cleaning the nail off, you are going to still end up with those bald spots. So remove the inhibition layer, give the nail a second to dry, give the rubbing alcohol a second to dissolve, and then go in with your top coat. So as you can see, I am just removing that inhibition layer from these nails, and you'll actually see the rubbing alcohol slowly start to dry and dissolve on these nails, which is exactly what you want. Now let's talk about the kind of top coat that you should use for Chrome. You might already know this, but you want to go in with a non-wipe gel top coat. You don't want to go in with a regular gel top coat. Regular gel top coats have that inhibition layer that you have to remove, and Chrome does not like that. So you want to use a non-wipe top coat. However, not all non-wipe top coats work for Chrome, and I'll show you why. So I'm gonna go in with this non-wipe top coat from Madam Glam, and I'm gonna cure it for the recommended time that they suggest that you cure it for, and then I'm gonna go in and apply the Chrome. And you're gonna see that the Chrome does not like this non-wipe top coat. Even though it's a non-wipe, the Chrome, for whatever reason, just doesn't agree with it. So as you can see, I'm going in and I'm applying a nice thin layer of this top coat to the nail, and then I am curing it for the designated amount of time that is recommended for it to cure. And then I am going to go in with my Chrome, and you can see that my tool is going out of frame a lot, and that's because I'm having to go back in and dip into my Chrome, which is not what you want when you are applying Chrome. So even though the general application of this is pretty smooth and pretty clean, I'm really only missing a spot right here, I kept having to dip back into my Chrome powder in order to apply this to the entire nail, in order for the Chrome to cover the entire nail. And when it comes to Chrome, you shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to constantly dip into your Chrome powder in order for it to cover the entire nail. So that is why not every single non-wipe top coat works for Chrome. Even though, yes, I was able to apply the Chrome to this nail, I wasted a lot of my product in order to be able to. I wasted some of my time in order to be able to, and you don't want to have to do that when you're applying Chrome. So when it comes to buying a non-wipe top coat, I usually just use this one from Kira Sky, and I have literally no issues whatsoever when it comes to my Chrome applications. If you don't want to use that one, if you want to use a different brand, I would recommend looking for a non-wipe top coat that is specifically advertised to use for chrome. So you've removed the inhibition layer, you have a top coat that works for chrome. Now you have to apply the top coat. When applying the top coat, that does matter a lot when it comes to your chrome application, because if you apply too much top coat, the nail's gonna be thick, it's gonna be chunky, and it's not going to look good. If you don't apply enough top coat, your chrome powder is going to have a hard time sticking to the nail. You might have some streaks, you might have some bald spots, so you want to apply an even layer of top coat to your nail. So to get that perfect amount of top coat, what I like to do is remove the polish off of one side of the brush and then remove some polish on half of the other side of the brush. That way I'm left with sort of this dollop at the tip of the brush. And then when applying my top coat, I am going to add even strokes to the entire nail, making sure that I'm getting every single last inch of the nail. And I'll go over the nail a couple of times with the brush just to make sure that it is completely covered. And then what I'll do is I'll look at the nail from different angles to see if I have any bubbles or bald spots or anything like that before curing. That way, when I go in with my chrome, I don't have those bald spots or streaks or anything like that. Another thing that you want to note when it comes to curing the top coat is making sure that you're curing it for the correct amount of time. So for this one, it says to cure it for 60 seconds under an LED light. Usually it says UV as well, but this one only says LED for whatever reason. So definitely before you cure the nail, check to make sure that you're curing your top coat for the designated amount of time that it tells you to cure it for. So before I apply the chrome, let's talk about applicators. So usually your fingers are the best applicators for chrome. Now, if you have nails on or you can't get your finger into the little pot, you can use a eyeshadow applicator that works just as well as your fingers. If you don't have that, I don't have that, otherwise I would show you guys. If you don't have that, you can use something like this, which is just a little silicone applicator thing. You might see these for 3D designs and whatnot. You can use these for chrome, but sometimes the chrome doesn't like these. So what I'll do, and I'll show you here, is when I apply the chrome, I like to then go in with my finger and rub it in. That way I'm not causing any streaks or anything like that using this guy, or having to dip back into my chrome in order to be able to get the chrome to cover the entire nail. Now, the amount of chrome that you use also matters too. So I'm going to go in with my little applicator here, and I'm just going to dip one side into here, and that's pretty much all I'm going to use. And then I'm going to go in and apply this to my nail here. And what you can also do is just wipe your finger across this guy and then rub it into here. Sometimes I'll do that if I have nails on and this is being a pain in my butt. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'm going to go in with my finger, and I'm just going to gently rub this into here. I do need a little bit more, so I'm just going to dip in and take just the tiniest bit more here. That's good. And I'm going to go into this again, making sure I get all of my edges and whatnot, and then going with my finger and just really make sure that this nail is completely covered. Now, before you top coat, you want to make sure that you remove any excess chrome on top of the nail. Now this looks pretty clean, so I might not have to, but I'm still going to just lightly dust the nail off anyways. That way when I'm top coating, I don't get those weird little sparkly bits that you'll sometimes see if there is too much chrome on the nail. Now, if you've ever had the issue where you've top coated one nail and it looks great, and then you go and you top coat the next nail and you have all of those little glittery pieces, what I like to do when I'm applying my top coat is after I've top coated one nail, before I dip this brush back into the bottle, I'm going to wipe the brush off. That way, if there's any chrome stuck onto this brush, it's not getting dipped back into my bottle and it's not getting stuck on this brush when I go to top coat the next nail. Now, if you've done all the right steps, done all the correct application, and you're still having a hard time with your chrome powder or rub-on powder might not be advertised as it's supposed to be. Now, what I mean by that is I have some of these so-called rub-on powders that are not actual rub-on powders, and I will show you exactly what I mean here. So I've applied 2 coats of my black, I removed the inhibition layer, I applied my top coat, I've cured it the way it's supposed to be cured, I've applied it correctly. I am now going to go in with this so-called rub-on powder, and as you can see, it is just not going on the way that a rub-on powder should be. So this is not actually a rub-on powder, even though it is somewhat sticking to the nail. Every single time I go back in to get into these bald spots, I just keep creating more bald spots. So if you are having a hard time with your chrome application, if you have something like this happening, your chrome powder or rub-on powder, whatever you want to call it, might not actually be a rub-on powder. Just because it's advertised that way doesn't mean that it actually is. So I definitely recommend that before you go buying a chrome powder, check the reviews, check to make sure that it is indeed a rub-on powder and not something that is just advertised that way, but it actually isn't. So that was how to apply chrome step by step. Hopefully this helped you if you've been having some difficulties with chrome, and if you are looking for a video on how to apply isolated chrome, that will be a video coming up very soon, so stay tuned for that. But if you guys liked this video, give it a like, and if you stumbled across my content before and you haven't subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you guys get notified of new videos that I upload. If it even works, and if it doesn't work, you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram and TikTok when I love to you guys ask new videos that I upload, but that's also where I share my work that you guys normally wouldn't see here in these videos. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.